Sorry, bub. I don't know why I don't just put them in the basement, but I'm lazy. That's what it is. I'm lazy. Welcome to Thursday's solo episode. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit off. I am battling a sinus infection. So what happened was Milo last weekend he was just like stuffed up and he had a little bit of a cough, like a really gooky, what do you call it? Productive cough. His behavior totally fine, like nothing else was wrong. No fever, like it was bizarre. So he never missed school or anything. But I was like, I hope I don't get this. And then it turns into a sinus infection. But I never got any cold symptoms. My husband didn't either. So I thought I bypassed it and everything would be fine. But no, like a few days later, after Milo is now all cleared up, I start to feel like I'm getting a sinus infection. So that was on Friday and it's now Monday. So it's not like a full-blown sinus infection. It's like it wants to be. But I've been using that Vicks Defense spray, which a lot of people are like, asking if I'm using it on Milo. Like, no, I bought that for myself. Once Milo started to get a cold or whatever he had, I bought that to prevent myself from getting a cold. Didn't get a cold, but my sinuses were like, oh yeah, you trying to bypass a sinus infection? Because that's what happens. I get a sinus infection every single time Milo gets sick with even like a sniffle. It's like the virus or whatever he has makes its way up my freaking nostrils. And I have like really bad sinuses. And I had surgery on my sinuses in 2015. And since then, like the anatomy of the inside of my nose is a little bit like weird. I had a camera, like when you go to the ENT, they put a camera up your nose. It feels really, really freaking weird. But he was saying like this side of my nose, which is where I always get the sinus infection, it's like open. He's like, usually there's like small little like entrances to like, like your sinus cavity. But on this side for me, it's just like wide open. So this is why, and this is such a weird like symptom or issue to have. But let's say every night, for example, I get into bed and I lay on the exact same side of my head and I read my Kindle. So as I'm doing that, if you're watching on YouTube, which like go subscribe on YouTube. I'm almost at 2,000 followers or subscribers, which is so crazy. Like I'm so excited. I'm going to be a YouTuber. Anyways, if I get up out of that position, it's like massive globule of sinus boogers, whatever you want to call it, like will dislodge from my sinus cavity and like either come out my nose, like if I blow my nose, or like go down my throat. So shortly after I know this is disgusting. Like this is my life, guys. After I had that surgery in 2015, I was like heavily into yoga, and that's what would happen like in the middle of a yoga class. They'd be like, okay, like let's lay on our backs. And I'd be like, okay, like lay on my back. Go to like move out of that position and like choke on snot. Guys, this is what I deal with. Like this is my sinuses. Like my poor freaking husband. Like I have digestion problems, like pooping, constipation. I have like snot coming out of my nose, like heavy ass periods. This is just like being a human. So I don't even know. Oh yeah. So anyways, I always end up getting a sinus infection on that side specifically. So it's like all the infection, like goo, comes out on this nostril, but there's nothing on this side. It's really bizarre. So anyways, there's not much that I can do except really try to prevent them from getting bad. So if Milo gets a cold, like do what I've been doing this time, like using that defense spray, using saline sprays, using like the nasal decongestion at night, and doing the rinses. So I do like you fill the bottle with the saline distilled water and you like like the neti pot thing where you put it in your nose and it like flushes out your sinuses. It's just not enjoyable. So I did one of those rinses on Friday morning, and then I go to Pilates and I had to like have a Kleenex with me. I'm like, I'm sorry guys. Like I did a nasal rinse this morning, and every time I'm like changing positions in Pilates, it feels like water is going to pour out of my nose because it gets trapped in my frickin' sinuses. Oh my God, it's like a whole fucking thing. Anyways, so that is why I sound a little bit off. I'm really happy that it's not like a debilitating sinus infection, knock on wood, but not really knock because they're going to think someone's at the door and then we're fucked. But knock on wood, pretend. So, yeah, I'm just fighting it, doing what I can. Every time I have a sinus infection too, the mornings are a little bit rough. And I always just want to have hot baths, like the hottest bath you could think of, and like putting the face cloth in the hot ass water and then like putting it on my face, like scalding hot. Also, I live like an hour from a spa place that has a eucalyptus steam room. How badly do I want to be in that place right now? That's like my dream right now. My husband's on call today, but maybe tomorrow I can do that. Anyways, okay, let's get into the episode. The first things first, usually I do the book reviews at the end of the episode, but I'll just do it now. So I finished the book, The Club. I feel like it took me forever to read it. It would put me to sleep. I feel like I wanted to finish it and I wanted to see what was going to happen. But once you get a little bit into the book, it's kind of obvious. Like, yeah, okay, it's just like a shit show and like crazy shit happens. Like, okay, like, I don't know. I'm surprised that I finished it, but I wanted to see how it would end, but then nothing significant really happened. Like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's a really cool premise. Like, the idea for the book is really good. I'm pretty sure they're going to make it into like a movie or a show or something, which is great. I feel like I've talked about this before, but that was one of the books that Milo accidentally bought on the Kindle. He got a hold of the Kindle when it was in like the bookstore part, and he bought 3 or 4 books. So that was one of the books that he bought. So I read it. Maybe that's also why I finished it, because I was like, I felt guilty and like I had to, like he shouldn't have had it when it was open at the bookstore. And so my punishment, my punishment is to read the books that he chose. Oh my God. Anyways, so I finished that one, and then I was like, I want something like super enjoyable, lighthearted, entertaining to read over the holidays. I'm going to my parents' place, which is like so beautiful. It's Christmas time. Like, I was like really nervous about what book I was going to pick because I wanted it to be good. And I was like, bonus if it is something that has to do with like Christmas or winter or like the holidays. So I thought back to Hotel Nantucket, which I loved. Like, I read my novels before bed every single night. So I want something that's just like lighthearted, really good. I'm like invested in the story. I love the characters, and Hotel Nantucket was that book. So I was like, I should pick another book from that author. Her name's Elin Hildebrand. So she has a ton of books, and they're all kind of like the same vibe. She lives I'm pretty sure it's an island, Nantucket. I want to go there. Just after reading the book, and like, I'm not gonna lie, I Googled Nantucket and I was like looking into it, like so cute. Like, I want to go there. Anyways, a lot of her books take place in Nantucket. So I was going to read the book called 28 Summers. A lot of people recommend it. It has like rave reviews on Goodreads. I'm on Goodreads if you guys want to follow me on there. I'm not like super active, but one day I hope to be. Anywho, so I'm like, that's the one that I was going to pick, but I put up a post asking which Elin Hildebrand book to read, and I tagged her, the author. She frickin' wrote me back, like direct message on Instagram, and recommended Winter Street. So it's a series of 4 books. Winter Street is the first one, and it's like a holiday, like Christmas, winter vibe type book. It's about like this family, a little bit dysfunctional, all different characters. I really like it. And I like in her book, this is how it was in Nantucket as well, Hotel Nantucket. Each chapter is like from a different person's point of view. So you get to learn each character like really in depthly, and it like bounces back and forth, but they're all connected, right? So anyways, I love her writing and her books. I just find it so enjoyable to read. Very lighthearted, but entertaining at the same time. And like, I don't know. So I started that. I'm like flying through it. I'm pretty sure I'm already like 25% done. On the Kindle, they give you the percentage done. I'm not like calculating that in my brain. So yeah, that's what I'm reading. We'll see if I can get through all 4 books in a decent amount of time. I'm sure I'll be doing more reading than usual over the holidays, so we shall see. But yeah, I'm loving it. So if you guys want to read that too over the holidays, do it. It's called Winter Street by Elin Hildebrand. Okay, moving on. I have also been watching The Sex Lives of College Girls. There are so many shows, and I need to start writing stuff down. Shows, movies, documentaries that I want to watch that I never get a chance to watch because I don't frickin' have time. So I'm like, screw it. I'm going to start watching something, spend more time like consuming TV shows and reading. Cause like there's so many autobiographies that I want to read too. And books, like nonfiction books, which usually that's what I used to read, but not before bed. Like during the day, it's almost like a study session. Like I will pick up a book, read it, make notes on it. Like I like to talk about what I'm learning in the book on the podcast. So I want to get back into that as well. That should be like one of my resolutions for 2023, getting back into nonfiction books. Now, I don't want to read them before bed. I also don't want to read them on my Kindle because I like writing in them, making notes, like putting little like dog ears, whatever. So yeah, I have a bunch of books that I want to read. I have a bunch of movies, documentaries that I want to see. But I started Sex Lives of College Girls because that was one of the shows that I wanted to watch. There's only 2 seasons and it's on Crave if you're in Canada. And I think it's an HBO show. It's super good. It's basically like, it's really entertaining. I don't know how relatable it is. Like, I feel like this was not my experience in college at all. But it's so good. I love the characters. The actresses are so good. One random thing that I was thinking about as I was watching it the other day, like they're living in a dorm. Okay, I've lived in a dorm before. You don't have a lot of room in a dorm, like storage wise. Yet every single time I see them in a scene, they're wearing a different coat. I'm like, where are you putting these coats? Like where? Like pea coats, winter coats, puffer coats, leather jackets, like blazers, like where is all this coming from? It's just not realistic. Yeah, like wear something twice, you're in college. Anyways, highly recommend that show. It's great. There's actually not a ton of sex in it. Like I thought it was going to be like Sex in the City, like times 10. Like it was going to be this, because that's the title of it, right? But it's actually not that heavily into like sex scenes and whatnot. So yeah, liking that show. I'm almost done, like all caught up. Before I get into Harry and Meghan, because I made a ton of notes on my phone, I will just tell the story of number 1, hunting for denim. Like, why is it so hard to find jeans? And number 2, my hormones, what I think is going on, what I'm going to do about it, and what happened on Friday and why I was hiding in the basement crying. It's so sad. And like, I feel like not so much anymore. Like I tend to give myself grace and understand that I'm a human and, it happened. We're over it. But I felt so bad. Like my heart was racing. Like I felt terrible. Anyways, first off, jeans. Let's talk about jeans. It's impossible to find nice fitting jeans for me right now. I ordered 4 pairs of jeans from the Gap online. They looked great on the models. They looked great. I put them on. They're all too short, even though I got the long versions. What's happening now is I think a lot of jeans are cropped style, but like cropped on a normal height person is like to my knees, you know? So even when it's in like the long version of cropped, it's not hitting me in the right spot and it's brutal. And what am I supposed to do in winter? Like you're wearing boots and you have these like baby jeans on. So I returned all the jeans to the Gap. I just ordered, I think 3 or 4 pairs of pants. I ordered a cargo pants and some jeans from Aritzia. Let's try those next. You know, I was trying to go for like cheaper options, but I'm like, okay, this is proving to be impossible. So let's try, I tried Zara first, then it was the Gap, and now it's Aritzia. So I have a problem with shopping in person. It's also the malls are chaotic right now. So it's not like I'm going to go spend time trying on jeans. Like, no, thank you. So I ordered some online. I know my size. I got the long version of the Aritzia jeans as well. Some of their jean options have 3 different lengths. So like petite, regular, and long. So we shall see. I own a pair of, they're called Denim Forum. I think that's the brand that I ordered from Aritzia. So I have a pair. I really like the way they fit. So we shall see. That's my denim journey. So Friday, I have been speculating or like observing things about my cycle that I didn't really think were related to my cycle, but now that I think about it, they are. And I was just like chatting with my naturopath a couple weeks ago, and I was asking her about these different symptoms. So the first one is spotting for like a few days leading up to my period. I'm just going to like this. I don't know if people are like weirded out by talking about periods, but you shouldn't be. Like, get over it. It's something that happens to everybody. So before, when I would get my period, like let's say before I had Milo, when I got my period, it would just be like how it started was just like a gush of blood. So it was like I would go pee, like wipe, like it's just like a gush of blood. Now, after having Milo, I spot for like days, a few days before it, just like light pink, you know, it's really annoying. I'm like, just come already, like just why the spotting? So, and it also extends the amount of time that you're having period-like things happening, you know? Before it was like, okay, gush of blood, get it over with, it's done. When it's done, it's done. Now it's like spotting for a few days, then it starts. Insanely heavy. Like never in my life have I bled through like a tampon and got blood on my pants. Never. And it happens almost every time I have my period now. I ruin multiple pairs of underwear. Yesterday to the Raptors game, I wore the period proof, like the leak underwear. It's not super comfortable. I find them like thick feeling. But anyways, I need to invest in some other brands. But yeah, insanely heavy period, which never used to have. It was just like normal before. I'm wearing like the biggest tampons you could possibly wear. I want to try the cup thing eventually. I just haven't gotten around to it yet. I can't decide on which one to try. Yeah, it's just laziness really. But yeah, do you guys remember when I got my period at my mom's house and she lives in this tiny little town and they only had regular tampons at the store? I was like, what? I had to drive 20 minutes to a larger city center, not even just like another little town, to get super tampons. I was like, has nobody had children in this tiny little town? Like, how do you only sell regular tampons? Anyways, so that's one of the symptoms too, like crazy heavy periods. And then spotting usually after it ends too. Like there's no more like actual blood and it's just like spotting for a few days. Annoying. Another thing is waking up in the middle of the night for like 3 to 4 nights in a row. And I started to figure out that it was happening like every month. Like, this is odd. So then I asked my naturopath about it. Wake up in the middle of the night, cannot fall back asleep. It's like you're wide awake till morning, basically, tossing and turning. I asked my naturopath about it and she was like, keep note of when it's happening, but I bet you it's happening a few days before your period starts. And I was like, oh, okay. Paid attention to it. That's exactly when it happened. So that's probably hormone related. And then the mood swings, like the irritability, the level of irritation that I feel and just like anger and like so frustrated for things that normally wouldn't make me frustrated is wild. And on Friday, it was so bad. And I'm very self-aware. So my husband came home from work, like he knew what was happening. Like I was like, I'm very, like, it's not okay. Like, I'm not okay. Like, I'm very on edge. Like, everything bothers me. And he was like, okay, why don't you like go chill upstairs? Like, we're fine. And I'm like, no, my mom guilt now and my partner guilt won't let me do that. Like, no, instead I'm just going to like hang around and be irritated. Like, I should just take his advice and go away. So anyways, that's eventually what I ended up doing, but after I already exploded. So Milo, it's almost like he knows when I'm in this mood. Like he knows. Like he wants to be on me. He wants to be with me. I can't go pee. Like normally he just like is playing independently, like bugging my husband, but it's like he knows if I'm irritated. So I'm like trying to keep my shit together. And then I tried to go upstairs to like wash my face, brush my teeth, put my PJs on. It was like 6 p.m. Just like get cozy. And he follows me upstairs. And I'm like so irritated. And he's like being so loud and like he's not upset. He's just so loud. And it's like when you're irritated and overstimulated and just like want peace and quiet and they're just like making all the noises like nonstop. Like I can't even describe what it is. It was just wild. So I'm like, I sit on my bed and I'm just like, oh my God. And he like jumps on the bed and he's like in my face. I'm like, Milo, can you not do that? Like mommy's not feeling well. Like I just want to be alone. Like I don't even know what I was saying. I was just like trying to stay calm and be like, don't do that, please. Like he had one of these little cardboard, like the party things that you blow into and it like, it like the party things like, he had one of those that we found in the basement. It was just like paper. And he was blowing it and like jumping around, blowing it. And then he started to do it right in my face. And I was like, Milo, don't do that. Like, you know how it is. And they think it's funny and like blowing it in my face. And I grabbed it and I ripped it and I threw it on the bed. And I was like, like, what did I just do? Like, I am a monster, first of all. And like, he was shocked. He was like, and he just started bawling. And like my husband came upstairs and I was like, oh my God. Like my heart was like pounding. I was like, I am sorry. Like mommy should not have done that. Like mommy got really upset. Like I was trying to say like all the right things, but my heart was like racing. He's got like tears like pouring down his face. And he kept saying like, Bubbles, stop. Bubbles, stop. Oh my God. Tears like racing down his face, like so upset. Stop it. Lay down. Okay. Never again am I recording with them. Just let that be known. So anyways, felt terrible. I decided to go downstairs in the basement and then I kept like just like thinking about what had happened, like playing it over in my mind. I was like, oh my God. And yeah, so I stayed downstairs all night, watched Harry and Meghan, and just felt like the worst parent in the world. And I was like, yeah, I should probably get my hormones. Like, this is not normal. Like, I should get my hormones checked and see what's going on because And all of these things that I mentioned are signs of low progesterone, like everything, like the really heavy periods, like the moodiness, the sleep thing. So I don't know what they can actually do for that, but we'll see what happens. So yeah, it was terrible. What's our time at? Okay, I'm already at 26 minutes. Okay, let's see if I can go through Harry and Meghan quickly. The moral of the story is like everybody's fine, and the next day it was like a non-issue. I felt really bad, obviously, but what's you gonna do, you know? Okay, briefly, let's go. Harry and Meghan. One thing that I want to talk about was like the paparazzi and just like the like what they ask of young children in the royal family. I think they're around my age, so like I kind of grew up watching them on the TV every once in a while, but obviously I've never really like thought about it. I'm not like a royal person, like I don't really care. But the paparazzi and what they have the children in the family do, stop. Like when they went skiing and they like were posing for paparazzi and like to all the events, and it's so media heavy. And like if you watch the documentary, like there's a reason why that is, but it was wild. And I just want to say that after Princess Diana passed away in like the most tragic accident in the world, 2 little boys are then at a public event shaking people's hands, being like, oh, thank you, like putting on a smile and being like, yeah, our mom just passed away, but we're gonna smile and wear this tuxedo and shake everybody's hand outside. That is literally inhumane. Like, talk about trauma, and like I could not believe that. And I was just putting myself in their shoes, like in the family's shoes. How do you think that's okay? And it's like the public owns these people. Like, I cannot believe that that's what they had to do. Stop it. You guys are bugging me. Oh my God. Anyways, like that should be illegal. And then it got me like starting to think about how people are always so up in arms about kids being on social media and like, you know, on TikTok and YouTube, whatever. And I'm like, what about these kids? Like, kids are kids, and this seems 10 times worse. Like, talk about exploiting children. And I get it. Like, they're part of the royal family. That's just how it is. But why is it? Like, why is that allowed? Even like encouraged? And then other like situations, like let's say TikTok or whatever, is so like condemned and people are up in arms about it. Like no child at that age is able to give consent. So what's the difference? And I get it. Like the royal family is like this massive, like generations and decades old thing. And that's just how things are. And it's like, but why? Like, how is that allowed? Like, I just could not believe that when their mom passed away. I have so much more to say, but maybe I'll push it to the next episode because I don't want this one to be like a million hours long. I don't know. It was a really good documentary. So maybe go watch the documentary. It's on Netflix. It's like 6 episodes. And then I'll talk more about it on the next episode. Okay. Or maybe I'll just talk about it on Instagram on my stories. So anywho, I hope everybody, this is the last episode before Christmas. The holidays officially begin on Saturday. So I hope everybody has the best holiday ever. You're able to relax, your children frickin' sleep, and, you know, we're almost done the elf. We've really kind of like, we're struggling with the elf. I'm not going to lie. My husband just like, he seems to remember, or he's up early and he's like putting it somewhere. But yeah, we're really excited to head up to my parents' place and just chill. My dad made us a big slide with snow on one area of their property. So we're going to be sliding and playing outside and hot chocolate, and hopefully my poops stay, my poop game is strong. I'm going to bring all the stuff that I usually have to my mom's house, like the chia seeds and the NutriCleanse and all that stuff. So yeah, fingers crossed. I'm going to enjoy some wine. Hopefully the sinus infection goes away. But yeah, thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope everybody has the best holiday ever, however you and your family celebrate it or whatever you celebrate. And thanks so much. Next Thursday's episode is going to be all about 2022, personal achievements, professional achievements. I'm a professional. And then what I want those, like my personal and professional achievements and goals and whatnot for 2023. So I need to like brainstorm, reflect, and write those things out. And then, I'll probably be recording that one from my parents' house. So enjoy. Maybe my mom will make an appearance, and these guys, oh, so annoying. Anyways, thanks for listening and happy holidays. Dun, dun, dun. Oh, listen to the Sia Christmas album. It's so good. And Hanson, and also the Pentatonics. Remember those people that are like the a cappella group? Their Christmas album's really good as well. So, all right, guys. Happy holidays.